Hello, everybody. We have Cat Dunn with us today, who is an online business manager and podcaster of Life After I Left. So welcome, Cat. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm a bit excited. So you just have so much going on in your world. So this will be absolutely amazing. First of all, please tell us a little bit about Cat Dunn. Tell us about your world as an online business manager and the podcast. I want to hear all about that as well.
So hello, listeners. Yes, I'm Cat Dunn. As you can hear, I'm originally from the UK, but have been in beautiful Melbourne for, quite a long time now, going on 10 years when I first arrived. And I love it here. I'm very thrilled to be an Australian as well. And like many of us, during the pandemic, we worked from home. And that was when I got the inkling for, I really want to have my own business. What could I do? And I learned about virtual assistants. And I became a virtual assistant and then quickly transitioned into online business management because I found I really liked the higher level strategic oversight of businesses. I really wanted to get stuck into all elements of the behind the scenes, as well as support the coach or the client with basically how can I make their dreams come true? How can I make them more money? How can I grow their impact? And how can I ultimately help more women? And I've been doing that for 5 years now, and it's been interesting. It's been a ride. I've been very grateful for who I've worked with. I've worked mainly with coaches because I do believe coaching is life-changing and everyone should work with a coach. And I've moved more into working with creatives. I work with a lot of artists, which is amazing. And I really love anything to do with building communities, launch strategy. I love launching products and offers and basically doing the day-to-day operations to see how we can streamline processes and ultimately give the client time back in their life.
Yeah. And this is what I love now. Kat and I have had a chat before and just the things we love are exactly the same. And the fact that Kat loves to do the office side of things and I just love to stick with the personal admin. So it actually works so beautifully. And it's so good to chat with Kat because we have such similar passions in our work. Tell us about the podcast, if you're happy to go into that.
So my podcast, Life After I Left, originally started as a live speakers event in Melbourne, which is still running to this day. In June 2024, I was trying to work on a keynote because I was trying to move more into a public profile, become a speaker. I was writing articles, etc. And my speaking coach, Jackie Maloney, has been working with me for a while now. And I had the idea of the title Life After I Left because my background is I was in domestic violence relationships for a very long time. And I found that by telling my story, it's helping other women to either leave their abusive relationship or share their story as well. And she said to me during one session, that sounds like an event. And I said, what does? She said, that title, Life After, ... Imagine the stories that people could share. And I went, oh. She went, I dare you. I dare you to put on your own event. And I thought, okay, I've done events before with clients. I've done events in corporate. How hard could it be? It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to put on an event. But we did. We put on, it's very hard.
Especially
we put on an event.
Yeah,
especially your own. It's so much stress.
Yeah.
But we put on our first event in November 2024. And now at time of recording, our next event, our 6th event, is happening on the 28th of May. And it's been a whirlwind. It's been insane. I've had the most incredible women take the stage and share their stories of everything. We've had postnatal depression, foster care, body shame, because every woman's story is unique. However, there's so many women that need to hear these stories and know there's a way through, there's a way forward, and there is life beyond trauma. And as I was working on these events, it's only Melbourne. And I thought, how can I reach more people? Because there's so many women worldwide who could benefit from these stories and might have a story to share. And I've always wanted a podcast and didn't know what I wanted to do because as much as I'm an OBM, I talk about strategy and scaling and all the things, I didn't really want to talk about that in a podcast. It didn't light me up. But the idea of giving a platform for women was so exciting. So we've just celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the Life After I Left podcast. I've had the joy of having 50 plus women share their story from around the world. And for it to reach 45 countries so far, which I just checked and makes me so happy. Because if it changes even one person's life to hear one of these stories, it's all worth it.
Yeah. And I love that you have, exactly like you just said, you have gone into something more personal for you. And that's where the passion comes in, definitely, for other people. So I know yours started from a place of trauma and life after can often lead to positive. It's that positivity that comes from the trauma that happens. So love it. Absolutely think it's fabulous. Well, now we are going to step into the life admin aspect of your world. Okay, so what's one part of business life admin that most people underestimate that actually creates the most mental load if it's not managed well?
I think this part, and especially for women, because we can do a lot, it's this open loop idea. And we do this in business as well. We have so many balls in the air, so to speak, particularly if you're a mother, if you run a household. It's not just did the client pay the invoice? Or hang on, did they actually agree to that proposal? Or did I put that meeting in my diary? It's also, hang on, so what day does my kid have soccer practice? Or hang on, are they vegetarian now? Or are they eating meat again? Oh, when is that doctor's appointment? Oh, my husband's actually at work late that night. It's this thing, and it's fascinating that women can do this. We can do it in our head, we can manage it all, we can hold it all. But there'll be that one time where one thing slips through the cracks, and then what we do is we berate ourselves, we have a go at ourselves because we couldn't remember that. But it's always on us, I find a lot. Not in every household, I know that there's some incredible partners out there who obviously do help with that, particularly when it comes to children. But I feel like you just need to find that one thing that would help support that. And for many years, for me, for example, it was a paper diary. I carried my diary with me everywhere and I wrote every single thing. And not a, dear diary, today was hard. Yeah. It is literally, it's 18th of May today, dentist appointment, 4:00, da, da, da. Put it all in there. And then every day I could go, I know exactly what I'm doing today and write down important things. And I think a good one for households particularly is get that ugly whiteboard.
A wall calendar.
Or the one for the fridge, get on and get everything on there so everybody can see at a glance what is happening in life, because stuff changes so much that I'm a huge fan of a Google calendar, but unless everyone's on the same calendar and your kids aren't going to access that necessarily, get everything on this whiteboard so you can move things around and know what's happening every single week, because then everyone's on the same chapter, everyone's on the same page, and it's not all in your head. You can put it down somewhere and everybody can see it. So it's not just your responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with you. Even when we do the workshops, there is a specific place for your digital calendar. But the more even we work with NDIS participants, we're realizing people actually want paper. As far as the calendar goes, when they can see it, and then they have their different colored textures, and I've even seen amazing setups with sticky notes, and there's phenomenal ideas around. So yeah, absolutely agree. Physical calendar seems to go a long way. You often speak about burnout, alignment, and doing things differently. How do you see boundaries as part of managing life admin and protecting your energy?
I like to think of boundaries as operational. And when I say that, I don't mean necessarily in business, but I mean it's how you're going to operate your life. If you don't have boundaries around key aspects of all areas of your life, you're not going to live your life the way you need to live your life for yourself and for your family. So if you think about business, a boundary might be you have a cancellation policy, you have payment terms, you have contract terms. But then also outside of that, your calendar is a boundary. Family time is boundary. Sharing household chores is a boundary, and you get to decide how that looks for you in all aspects of life, and then communicate that with people who you live with or people in your life. Because again, as women, we overgive. We overgive so much. So apart from holding everything in our heads and doing all the things, we're overgiving our time, we're overgiving our attention, and we're overgiving our thoughts. Because how many times have you gone to the hairdressers, or maybe even picking your kid up from school in the schoolyard, and people are gossiping, chatting, which is fine. But how many of those things are seeping into your brain that aren't necessarily thoughts that you want to have or conversations you want to have? And I got my hairdresser, no offense down there, I block it out because I cannot listen to you bitch about the latest celebrity scandal in the celebrity magazine. I can't do it. So I'm like, switched off. I'm going to focus on me, because my boundary in my head is I do not want that infiltrating what I'm trying to think about. Or my nice moment now where I'm getting my hair washed and it just feels nice having someone rub my scalp. So before you think about strategizing, this is what it's going to look like in business, in my family life. Think about your energy. Where do you want your energy to go? And you get to put a boundary on every single part of your life, your thoughts, your body, and your business.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Yeah, especially what comes into your head. I absolutely love that idea. Yes, we all need to do that. So when someone is juggling business, family, and personal responsibilities, what is your go-to approach for simplifying everything so that they can not feel so overwhelmed and breathe again?
This is a one I'd use in business as well. I use it with my clients, that we create these categories in business. What can be delegated? What can be deleted? What can be delayed? And I think you need to do that in life, because unfortunately, as much as we can have everything, we can't have it at once. We all know that. And sometimes other people's needs need to come first. For example, if you do have children and they have a soccer practice that night, and so you can't do XYZ because of that, you need to think about in your life what needs to come first, but then also what can be delayed and deleted. It might be a case of, this sounds awful, Sometimes we have these best friends who are known forever and you're like, oh, I need to get the coffee catch up in the diary. I need to put that in. I need to make sure I see her. But she doesn't really light me up when I see her. I always feel a bit worse afterwards because she's always complaining and she never asks me how I'm doing. But we're just trying to make sure that everyone's okay and we put everyone first and we make sure everything fits. Maybe they could be deleted, as awful as that sounds, but life changes and we come in ebbs and flows and not everyone's there to support our energy and what we need.
Yeah.
Or could it be delayed until you're like, all right, this week I'm going to be a good place because I've got more energy and I feel like I can support her. Because at the end of the day, that whole thing about putting on your oxygen mask first, you need to do that. And in your life, you literally get to go look at everything and go, what do I actually want to do here? What do I need to do? And what can actually be delayed?
Yeah.
Because we don't do that. We try and fit it all in, then we're knackered. We don't have the energy. But even in business or when it comes to managing admin in life, you don't have to write a 5-paragraph email if literally one word will do. You might come across as rude. Who cares?
Yeah.
If you're not coming across as rude in yourself, however someone reads it, they read it. If you don't like voice notes and your friend sends you 20-minute voice notes, you get to say, no, I don't have time for that. You send me a text, whatever, or I'll respond to you when I can. Our nervous system can only handle so much. So if we don't start thinking about what we can remove, what we can delay, or what we can prioritize, which we're not, it's not going to change. And if you really don't know, write everything down and then highlight your non-negotiables, like school. Your kids' school, you know, if they don't go to school, fair enough, you might want to be that parent. But usually they're going to have to go to school, you have work, etc., and then work it back from there.
Absolutely agree. It's funny. I didn't even realize I was actually doing it, but I don't take phone calls. Generally, I will not answer the phone during the day. So anyone that knows me knows that. I just won't do it because a lot of the time, and you might be the same, Kat, but with the kind of work that we're in, I like emails anyway because it keeps a trail of what's happened between client or whoever I'm dealing with. So for me, a lot of the time I would prefer email. That's when I can respond to you as well because I have my one inbox. And if I do phone calls, they're usually in the car because I can't do anything else anyway. So it's putting those boundaries in place because I know a phone call, honestly, it feels like a waste of my day. So if I'm sitting here for 20 minutes having a discussion, that could literally be done in a 2-sentence email. Very frustrating. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of us from corporate life know how many times we've sat in meetings that we just thought this could have been an email or literally we didn't need to have this at all. You just want to hear the sound of your own voice. And I'm a millennial. You ring me, I'm going to panic. I do not want to speak to you on the phone. I'd actually rather have a Zoom call than be on a call. I'm the same. But let's say if there's certain things you cannot get past, can you habit stack it? As in, you know, in the car, you can answer the phone.
Yeah.
You know, when you're cleaning the dishwasher, you can listen to that voice note. Is the way you can do that so it doesn't feel like your whole day is taken up by someone else's energy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes, love that. Your podcast features powerful stories of women rebuilding their lives. What's one thing those stories have taught you about what people really need when life feels overwhelming and unmanageable?
In one word, community.
Great word.
We cannot do life. We cannot do business. We cannot be human without each other. As much as sometimes we want to be, I'm very independent and it's to my detriment sometimes that we can't. That's it. That's all I can say. We can't do this alone. I've been in some of the worst possible situations in my life and I only got through it, got out of it and built this incredible place where I'm at now, my apartment, my life, my business, my new relationships because of the community that I found. And it's very hard sometimes to find the right one. And I totally understand that. I get very lonely. 5 years in business, just hit 40. And I sometimes think, where are my people? Who can I actually depend on? Have I segregated myself too much? Have I unlearned the lesson that I learned years and years ago? Community is key. If you haven't got it, I would strongly look for it. If you can't, even just that one person.
Yeah.
Because we can feel safe within ourselves, but to feel safe with another person, to have someone who's going to hold space and has our back, there's nothing you can't get through if you have that one person or that community. Because these women on my podcast, these women on my stage, even myself, they went through a lot of trauma. They've gone through some of the worst times in their life. Community got them through that. And then they get to stand on stage, they get to speak in the podcast, and they get to show you what it's like on the other side. None of them did it by themselves.
Yeah.
And yes, maybe their communities changed. Maybe they had different people in their life that we would have, but it doesn't matter. Even it doesn't have to be this huge traumatic thing. Just have someone else that gets it. I'm not a mother. I can listen, but I can't empathize. I don't know what it's like. So find the person who maybe has gone through something that you've gone through. Or even if you can't find that in your world, honestly, the best thing I ever did was therapy, was coaching, was ringing organizations like Lifeline. Please don't feel like you have to have this huge trauma or this huge thing happen to you. We all have our ups and downs. We all have things we go through. There's always somebody there who can help, who can listen and hold space. because we cannot do this alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know whether this is a me thing or an overall thing, but sometimes you're so scared to go out to the community and seek that help because you don't know what people are going to say or how they're going to react. And I just think every time you've actually done it and gone, I'm going to talk to someone about this, the relief you feel afterwards. So the hardest thing is doing it. But when is it ever turned out to be a bad decision? Clearly, you've got to choose the right person, or you're right, as you say, whether it's Lifeline or whatever that phone call might be, at the end of it, I don't believe you will ever walk away going, I should never have done that. I think it's always a positive. Even though it's hard, it's a positive to do it.
Yeah, fear is such a huge one. We're scared all day, every day, particularly as women. And it's so hard to overcome that. But even if you told the wrong person, which could be terrible, could be very scary, it's going to teach you something about who you need to have in your life and who you don't.
Yeah.
But also, you might reach out to somebody who is going through the exact same thing and suddenly feels less alone.
Yeah.
Even today, the day that we're recording, I've had a really bad day today and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I'm really struggling I'm changing my business. I've got an event in 2 weeks. There's a lot going on. And I isolated and I thought, I'll just deal with it. It's fine. But then I met with my business coach and I spoke to my boyfriend and I shared it. And I thought, oh my God, I have these people and I've been through this before. And I know, I just need to say it out loud. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that I found that. And like I say, if you haven't found it, we can go find it. And honestly, DM me. I'm always ready for a chat. I won't judge you. I've heard everything and I've been through everything. But fear is never going to go away.
Yeah.
If you can figure out a way to take action from that place and advocate for yourself, regardless of whether it goes well or maybe not so good, you advocated for yourself, and that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good takeaway. I love that. While that's not on the life admin topics, I'm really glad we've had that conversation because there are so many people in tough situations, no matter what they are. It could be you're overwhelmed by your inbox. It could be that simple. But there's always help out there. There's always someone that you can talk to and they'll go, why don't you try this or try that? Or I feel like that verbalizing just makes it not go away, but it's not carried so hard just by saying it out loud.
Yes, and if you're struggling with something in business or life admin, my biggest tip is Facebook groups are full of valuable advice. If you find the right one, my God, there's so much gold in there.
Yeah.
Particularly with the advancement of AI, etc. I've worked with clients who've had nightmare inboxes and implementing the most basic tools within Google or actually bringing an AI bot to do XYZ. It's made it so much better for them. So if you don't know it, then ask. And you're not going to seem stupid because there's no stupid questions because somebody else is going, oh my God, I needed to ask that and I didn't dare. Or I wanted to ask that and didn't know how to word it. Or I've asked that before and no one helped. It changes every day. There's always going to be people out there to support you. So honestly, Facebook groups is definitely a key one for me.
Absolutely. Good one. That was a good chat. Where can people find you? Do you want to tell us anything further before we finish up?
So if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook at Cat Louise Dunn. And if you want to follow the podcast, and you should because it's amazing, that's on Instagram at Life After I Left Podcast. And if you're in Melbourne, you can always follow the Instagram account for upcoming events. We have so many big things coming. And if you just want to message me either about business, about life admin, about anything to do with life after, if you want to share your story, I'm always here because I love nothing more than building community and having conversations.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. Yes, so please be in touch with Kat and follow her. And if you can, get to any of the events that Kat holds as well. So make sure you get along to one and check out what she's up to.